A light heavyweight bout. Dustin Jacoby coming in at plus 115 against Kennedy and Nzechukwu, sitting at minus 145. Over under 2.5 rounds, minus 140 for the over, plus 110 for the under. The 35-year-old Dustin Jacoby, back-to-back losses for him. So he's on a 2-fight skid. And for Kennedy and Nzechukwu, he's on a 3-fight win streak. So a little bit of a difference in the trajectory of careers. 31 years old for Nzechukwu. 6'5", you see there. 83-inch reach. He's going to have a reach advantage over most guys that he fights. And he will definitely have that in this one. Seems like he's hitting his stride. Wins over Devin Clark, Iwan Kudalaba, Carl Roberson, all by finish, second and third rounds. He usually is somewhat of a slow starter, and he'll somewhat get his reads or maybe just wait for you to slow down a little bit. But over the years, you just see the patience and the skills accumulate. As for Dustin Jacoby, 2-fight skid, close loss to Khalil Roundtree. That was controversial. And then the one last time out against Azamat Murzakanov, I thought he was going to win that fight. I think he was a slight favorite in that one. And just based off of he'd be the bigger guy, he has really good kickboxing. And I just felt like he could, stick to the outside, jab, leg kick. And he didn't do much of that. Kind of got caught. And I don't know, maybe lost some sort of confidence in his kickboxing after getting caught. Cardio didn't look good. Ultimately loses decision to Azamat Murzakanov, who stays undefeated. But in this one, coming in as the dog, I still don't like it though. I think Nzechukwu is he's just a lot bigger and he looks, I don't want to say more technical kickboxer, but he's just going to be a little step ahead, I think, in this one. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Dustin, if you watch this, I'm sorry. I think it's a bad matchup for him too. We saw him in Kansas City, and I was pumped to watch him. He's from the same hometown as me. Everybody knows Dustin if you're from here or from a small town, and everybody there at Kansas City was rooting for him because that was as close to home as he's going to get fighting. A lot of his family, all of his friends, everybody was there, and it seemed like that was a little pressure for him or something because he did not look like the same Dustin Jacoby that we normally see inside the octagon. And now we're at UFC Nashville, which is like just as far away from our hometown as Kansas City is, just opposite ways. So it's going to be the same thing. All of his family, all of his friends. It's a lot of pressure to go out there and perform and get a big, finish and stuff like that over a dangerous and good fighter like Nzechukwu. So I think you mentioned it right on when you opened up this fight with their career trajectories. Obviously, Kennedy's looked really good. Gotten finishes in his last 3 fights. 2 knockouts, a submission against decent guys, especially Kudalaba, who's tough, and he's going to come out there and try to grind you down and take you down, is he able to find the knockout there? Then he subs Devin Clark, who, Devin Clark's the guy who's tough, gritty, and durable too at times. So Dustin Jacoby, on the other hand, loses Khalil Roundtree, which was a good fight. I thought he fought well enough to win, but he was point fighting there. And then he goes out and tries to do that with Azamat Murzakanov and gets dropped. Gets hurt a couple of times, almost put out, and then, comes back towards the end, but just had nothing in the gas tank left and just didn't really perform well at all. So these guys are going opposite ways. And, Jacoby's usually a pretty big dude at 205. I think people will be surprised at how big Kennedy is in there. I mean, the dude's 6'5", he's thick. He's going to be hard to connect with and put out. And if Dustin can't do that, if Azamat Murzakanov was hurting him, I could see Kennedy putting some shots on him that do some damage as well here too. So at this point in Dustin's career, this is a really tough fight in my opinion. I think Kennedy and Nzechukwu probably gets it done. I'm going to be rooting for Dustin Jacoby with everything I got. But yeah, I'm going to pick Kennedy here. I hope it doesn't bite me in the ass too.
Yeah, I just think it's a very tough matchup for him. I kind of like the price because I think he should be around that, if not maybe like minus 160. But Dustin Jacoby, he could definitely pull it off, like with a good game plan. And if you catch Kennedy on like a bad day, or if he just starts to fight outside of what his coaching is telling him, because I think that's been a big upside for him as of recently. Like it seems like he's listening to his coaches very well throughout the fight and goes in with a good game plan. But if he doesn't, then Dustin's definitely a live dog.
Dustin's got to get the leg kicks going.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
the number one thing. Whole fight.